So how many unique column R items, because these I gotta set up first.
Are unique, what do you mean?
Column R for the categories.
Oh, column R.
Do we got 40 categories or 20 categories or?
Don't know. I'm not sure.
So we can go ahead, we can sort and then put in your little thing and then.
Willie might
And
be
now-
our winner again.
Hit into there or click your little down there. So how many of those we got? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Is that tickets?
9, 10, 11, 12,
That's
13,
the other
14, 16,
Maybe 20, 30 of them.
20.
Oh, is that Brendan or?
24.
So we gotta set those up manually, unfortunately, first, because I don't have an import for the categories. I was just kind of wondering how many of those
The guy with the cat.
do we need to set up first?
Oh, so Ryan
Because
Miller.
Okay.
all I need is that and a code and a description.
I
You
didn't
know,
know
what do I
if
call
those
that
were
thing?
cats until you said that. I was like,
But there is no import for the
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's
53
right.
categories, so I got 50 of those I gotta set up. Code description, then I can import that stuff, but I have to create those 53 tables. Now, do you want to have that little E in front of there? Is that valuable to you?
That's pretty funny, actually.
Let me think. So,
Most
It
original.
is just a sort of thing, and like I said, anything with a filter bar, once I put them in, I can start typing, so wouldn't hurt if you put any thing in there, but I was just wondering, is that something that you embrace, or?
they are special
Cross
things.
categories.
That's why I deleted all the other categories. We used to have other categories that were ABS with no E in front of them. These
Gotcha.
are all pulled from a system called the Harrison Publishing.
Yeah.
It's more of a global standardized
Standard
code.
Thing for that.
And I made those categories with that lowercase e just to identify that
Okay.
these are Harrison coded.
Okay.
The fours, the ones with the 4 in front of them, those are for a specific. So I need to look
I think
at our
that's,
material category code
Eric McMahon.
code format, because I believe we changed that
Familiar. Why does it look like that's what it is?
because
Yeah.
I want to keep some pure water stuff. So I would use 04. Basically, it's the same. So those things with the 4 in front of them, those categories, they're for this division. That makes sense?
Gotcha. So do me a favor, pop your little B there, and let's go to our material categories, please. And on the right.
Oh.
And hit F3. That was, we looked yesterday, was it 5-4L is what we were brainstorming originally, but since we don't have anything in there, we can kind of twink it if we need to, but it's a maximum of 10 character alphanumeric. It can be sectioned or not. If you have categories and subcategories that you want to mask in there, you certainly can. What would work the best? Are things really categories? I would think that pure water for sure would be category specific, but some of your other stuff you could either work on service, small projects, or construction, because it is what it is. I can use it and plumb with it or whatever I want to do with it. However, I bet you do have certain things that are pure water specific, because just because of the unique nature of that business, right?
Yes.
So, so that's the whole thing of, do we need sections, or can I use something else? Because it can be alphanumeric.
Well, what I would like
Some
to
people
do.
would put capital PW in front of any of the categories of pure water stuff, so immediately you could find that. So there are kind of multiple options on how you could do
And
that.
so what I'm looking for on that would be a subcategory type thing. So like if I had pure water, you can see all the pure water. They have a form from them, but then they have a description by an individual category for pure water. So I would need something that maybe it's a 2-digit and then dash and then whatever else we can use for that to be more descriptive, that these are for pure water only, and then these are the categories for pure water, right? And then maybe something that says this is Harrison codes, and then all the subcategories of Harrison codes, right? And then that allows us to add anything else that we needed that may be service specific.
Sure,
Here's the categories for service.
sure. And the subcategories, is that where you're maybe thinking the galvanized pipe versus PVC
That's
versus
correct.
copper versus
That's
whatever,
correct.
different, whatever you want to do and have dimensions under those. or
That's
whatever
right.
For going on. that.
Yeah, so really, I mean, if we wanted to, I guess we could change it to a 2R. 2R would be good because 2 characters should be descriptive enough for what we're trying to do. And then whatever else we need on the end, the left justified.
Sure, and you like the separator now? Remember, we can go period, dash, or N. N meaning no separator, even though it's sectioned behind the scenes. You don't have to have a dash or a period between the sections of your material
It'd be
category.
nice to have the dash just to delineate.
Okay, and then how big, so that gives us 3 of the total 10 possible characters in that, because the dash does take one of the 3. I would then have the ability to have 7 to the right of my 2 dash. It would give me 7 alphanumeric characters, if necessary, to the right of my dash, which I think would be plenty in your situation.
Yeah. Yep. I think we go with that. I mean, these are all like 5 characters after the E. So if we did 7.
Left justified.
Yeah.
Then that gives you a little bit, it'll tuck up against that dash.
Yep.
And
Because the first would always be 2 digits.
something like that work
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll set the mask, we'll go kind of put in one manually. If we like it, we'll say, let's go to town. And
Okay.
we'll figure out the import to get massive.
Yeah, since we have to manually type them anyways, yeah. I mean, it's time to change them.
Might as well pop
On this old stuff, so.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so I'm gonna have to borrow your keyboard for just a sec. Just because that little mask is set at 5R-4 at this point in time. And then I can pop that over. Yeah, the other one, the material code that's 20 characters, there is no flexibility on that.
That's fine.
It's 20 left justified, you really can't do anything.
Alphanumeric.
There's no masking of it. There is no mask available.
That's alphanumeric though, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. So now, he says, let's go PW, ELGA. That's how it wants to work.
Oh, it's still not valid, huh?
I just haven't saved it yet. So once I save it to the database, it'll be happy. So then probably just because we'll want to have for reporting notice, some are capitalized, some are
Yeah.
proper.
Yeah.
So we'll probably want to go Farmstead, E-A-R-S-T-E-A-D. Is that equivalent? Is that equivalent?
I don't know. It must be.
So it's kind of got a cross reference to a different part number, 5027/D0809. Okay, perfect. And I can just do that. So really, what's my category? That's not a category description. I messed up. So what would that description of that, that's a part. So that's going to come in the import of my next step. This is just, I guess, what is an ELGA?
Looks like replacement cartridge, line cell, service key. I have no idea. That'd be our pure water guy. Do you guys know what an ELGA category?
Is that a brand again?
It's an item category.
I don't know.
Filters ELGA.
I probably have an original list.
There you go. Yeah, just put ELGA.
For
And
now.
we can figure out what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, because now in the next step, of course, when I'm starting to build my little material database, all I got to do now is pull up my little thing
I have
here.
the pure water inventory.
And then that baby is going to be
It's not too long.
It's got 20 characters, so there's plenty of room in there. And then this is where we'll have to kind of talk about what we want to do for consistency of proper versus capitalized to get your reports looking sweet. So then I can put that into my, and I can change the description at any point in time. So this would probably be taxable. Would this potentially be
That's the
something we could stock into inventory? Yes or no? It doesn't mean you have to, but you could. You know, if it's unchecked, I couldn't put it in the inventory. If I check it, I can, but that doesn't mean I have to.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Down below it, they have that
Yeah, I
little
think
button.
the
like
Elga
taxable.
is a brand.
Yeah, that's correct. Because right now, if I initialized it with that checked, I could initialize that into an inventory location. And as you build an inventory, maybe you're like, I need to put a new thing into that stock location. So when you set it up, you can say, bam, and you can put it in there.
Okay.
Once you get your everything in there for now.
Yeah. So I mean, if that gives us those options, then I would have it checked. Yeah.
Yep. So then here, unit of measure is, I saw recently, when you were scrolling, there was a
Oh,
unit of
UV lamp
measure.
for elder
So that is by
water
each.
purification units.
So it is case sensitive, so we'll just do a nice binder place to make a little EA into a big EA.
Are you out Googling it too?
I was gonna say, I'm looking at the website, it's Elga, Viola,
Then
UV lamps
the-
for purification. I'm gonna spin it out.
The material cost type looks over to the JC cost type, and it's gonna go over here.
So let's see who can get the better deal quicker.
So basically, since there probably isn't a default
Yeah.
phase, I can
Yeah,
default
for
the cost
laboratory.
type.
Yeah, water purification.
That is what that first line, now.
So the
question is-
Elga is a brand name of UV lamps used in water purification laboratories.
And so maybe the Elga stuff, we'll kind of maybe verify that this list of stuff is, those are all Elga things. And is this,
Is your computer running?
everything with 4 is
Pure water.
PW, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. And then those are filters, so, okay. So basically, that's what we kind of need to do to prep that spread. Now, standard unit cost versus unit price.
Spreadsheet so they can do the
If
count.
I'm doing a purchase order, now, here's a tricky
Or did
thing.
that
Let me
get
lay
already?
something on
Well,
you that's
hold on a second.
a pretty nice feature
Were you included?
in the purchasing
yeah, so
You were
module.
CC'd.
Did you already send that to him?
Oh, no, he sent a spreadsheet, an inventory count sheet.
Yeah, they had it from last year. I don't know why they wanted me to resend it to
You
them.
have a good week lined up that this is to Shane.
So the way the
Oh, okay,
game
maybe
is
I was
Oh,
designed
he
thinking-
says,
to
I
work,
requested a copy of the monthly
and we'll
reductions.
kind of
in
talk
book count
about
that
what the
accounting
best
will
way
get
for you to
later.
do it
Is
is.
that what he was getting from you?
Once I set up my
He wants
HQ
me to
materials,
tell
the
him
way
what's on the
Vista
book
looks
so
at
he
it
can
is,
True
this
it
can
up,
either be
see what the difference is.
material
you know.
items specific to a vendor, or it can be a generic item.
Yes.
Okay?
Multi-vendor.
Yeah. So usually what happens is in headquarters, a lot of my customers say, sometimes they build them vendor specific, but I
That's
got
what he's
another
after.
table that
So he
does
wants
that.
to compare
Because in this table, as you
Shane's
can see,
count
there's nowhere
and
to put the
extended
vendors.
pricing to
In
what we're gonna
headquarters,
show in
it
the
is
book.
not
But
vendor
until all the
specific, meaning
invoices are closed
cash
out
flows.
for
Mhm.
But over here, I can take that,
Yeah.
And we're gonna
and then
close
this,
stuff through the
there's an
10th of
import for
January.
this.
So I can tell
So
them,
what
yeah,
you're
well,
doing
currently
is,
we're
if your
showing X
vendor
and
can
it's gonna
give you
be
their
Y,
price
Z.
list in a
By the 10th
spreadsheet,
of, you know, by the
you
time we
can
close out the
upload
year.
the most
And
current
then he'll be like,
vendor
wait a minute,
price
you
sheet
said we were at
into your database. So when your purchasing guys are doing it,
15,000 and now,
guess what's
you
pre-filling?
know what I mean? It's just like,
The
there's no,
up-to-date
there's not a,
vendor
it's a
prices,
time.
if their
it's a-
spreadsheet is up to date with
There's
the
a
current
time
pricing for you
lapse.
guys.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And if we do itemized and they come back with a different price, meaning the price change, doesn't have a last in,
And
first
unless
out?
he's gonna go back and.
Well,
do
that's
inventory
out of
11:30,
inventory, out of your own
11:30.
inventory controls.
Okay.
You know, first in, first out,
It's year
last
in,
in,
year
first
out,
out,
so-
and coming out of your
I mean, the
inventory.
only thing is.
Out.
He just doesn't want surprises, so he
But
wants
this
to go
is
back and
possibly
know, okay, well,
When
where,
I'm
what are we
purchasing
trying
from a
to,
vendor, and I'm doing a
reconcile to?
purchase order, because that's why it's in PO vendor
Yeah,
materials.
Yeah.
When I do a purchase order, am I pulling
Well, I
off
mean,
just,
the other thing is
so if I
relatively if you
don't
do account.
have this specific to a
It's
vendor,
okay. I mean, they've done it for the last
then
3
what
years.
pre-fills
They've done
is what's
accounts.
called a
I've said this is
standard
where we're at, but,
cost.
you know, it's just
And this is what's
You're gonna
gonna pre-fill
Fluid
fluid
automatically.
until we get.
Unless
everything
it's
done.
vendor specific, then I can have a standard cost override for this vendor unit cost right here, to
Okay.
override the standard cost here. So here's my standard cost. And then, of course, I can have a vendor specific price list that overrides that, and that supersedes the ballpark cost. I just want to know, hey, so if I keep up this material standard cost, it pre-fills during purchase order, but when you get the quote and stuff, you'll make it be what the quote is. Unless you have the vendor materials, then this can supersede what's called the standard
Okay.
cost. So having said that, I just kind of wanted to show you a little preface, but in step 1 on your nice little spreadsheet, because this came out of inventory, would we want, and you, your Maxwell inventory, does it have like an average price or a standard price or something in one of these columns? Because
It's going to be in unit cost is what the cost was, and then we have a list price.
oh, this one right here.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So this is kind of a standard cost at least,
Standard cost.
and then that's the standard price in column I. As far as mapping.
List price, yes, that's not what we pay, but that is a standard price of it.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah. So what we could do is go,
So the unit cost is basically our discount that we get from our vendor
because this happens to be vendor specific, but
at that point.
at that point, but then it's dynamic. I mean, and that's where that whole last and first out and all that stuff comes in.
Correct.
So this thing is 168.28.
Let's see, you got discount types up there with multipliers. Can you click on that, press that pull down? Discount rate per dollar. So one's a multiplier and one's just a percentage?
Of course.
Yeah, per dollar, not per unit. Amount per unit and percent rate per dollar.
Gotcha. Because we have, with that Harrison Publishing Service, right, we, it updates our estimate.
Yeah, but this thing is actually, we have a module that you guys don't work with, it's called material sales. This thing actually only affects what's called the material sales module.
Oh,
It's what I'm
selling it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I gotcha.
that's correct, that's a material sales.
Okay.
So it just does, it isn't applicable to you.
Gotcha.
So basically, if we imported that first line right there, that would turn into, okay, and then the only other thing, this escalates, is that, like I said, once again, material sales. It's for our gravel pits and our asphalt plants and concrete batch plants and stuff like that. Now, and so sometimes, we'll get into your units of measure. Sometimes you buy them by the each and you inventory them by the each, but you can also get them by the box or the case or the pallet or something. And then for this thing, there's 12 in a case, 24 in a box and 100 on a pallet, or, whatever the heck. So
Gotcha.
these are alternative units of measure. But normally, this is how I inventory the things. So if I count them, I'm out there, I count them by the each. And then the question is, sometimes I purchase them by the whatever, it's on the whatever, it's on the whatever. So that's kind of what that additional thing is designed for. Okay. So that's what we need to do to this spreadsheet, is prep it. And then, as you can see, it's once again a little import thing. And all that crap there will just be lined up into this little buckets right there. And I think the biggest cleanup, we'll have to create the 50 categories, which is kind of a pain. And then maybe work on making sure you like here, there's some proper functions in Excel that
Can
will
you
change.
scroll down on that? So those are hand entered, The other ones are imported from that other system, and I want to see what they standardize.
They're almost all proper. Oops.
All the way down.
Yeah.
They go down past the fours into the
Oh,
other
gotcha,
categories.
gotcha.
There we go.
Oh,
So
these are
those are
caps.
Those are all imported from that other system, so they're all caps standardized.
So should we maybe cap the other ones? Because there's an upper thing
Yes.
where I can change all those other things to upper
Yep.
and standardize that way. If indeed the rest of them are all.
Yep.
Because the problem is a lot of this crap, like PX01 has to be upper. You know, and it's weird because it's all that, well, like AT&T.
Mhm.
It's upper. You know,
Yeah.
that kind of crap.
So there's another thing on here that we had a custom field added called size, so we probably want to add that to our inventory.
Okay, where's that little sticker?
Let's see, maybe on the end since it was a custom field
Gotcha.
or not.
I'll let you
Yeah.
try to find it.
Because we did add that because of the filtering.
Sure.
They used to put it in front of the description because there was no field for size, and I don't think there's one for this either.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Okay, so you're not gonna see it for the hand type ones, but when I get into this, come on, there we go. So what happened is the way when we manually code them, before we did this import from the system, the standardization, they have it separated. What people used to hand type in here was the size at the very beginning of this. But it was hard to filter because we could only sort, we couldn't filter like this does. And so what we need is the size field in there to correspond to this. And that's why you saw this duplication, because it's 3, 4, 2, 1.5, right? Different sizes of that.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
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 Otherwise, if we didn't bring the size in, this is gonna be kind of weird. You know, they don't know what they're grabbing.
Yeah. However, guess we'll do some custom lookups and add those to the lookups so that we can see the lookup by size. Because your lookup is usually by the standard stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but now you got a UD field that is kind of part of
It
that.
needs to be a lookup, yes, it definitely does.
All right, now that looks like a material list that we can import and get in there as step one into our item database, and then we can start, once we get into the headquarters, then we can start building our inventory module. How many inventory locations do you have? Is all your physical inventory at this site, or do you have another site north of the metro
Would
area?
it be
Fab Shop?
Fab Shop? I
Fab
would
Shop
think
has
just
a site?
here and Fab Shop.
2 sites?
Yep.
Ad shop inventory, and then kind of a service/construction material inventory.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think you have anything else at this point.
Yep.
Okay, so that's how the game must work. So I guess,
Well, on that though, so the inventory that's at the Fab Shop would be these items too.
so this item database, I can put a portion of them in, so basically I can have as many inventory locations as you want. Each of your service trucks can be an inventory location,
We do that too.
and we can move
Yeah, but the thing
inventory and
is,
stock vehicles, so I can have as many inventory locations as necessary.
but the thing is, so are you going to have that where you're tracking it in Viewpoint? Because that's the purpose of Tool Watch, having those vehicles as locations and scanning the stuff out to those
Tools,
vehicles.
not material.
Oh,
We're talking about material used on the
Material.
job.
oh,
Fitting. I use this fitting and it came from my van stock because I hold stock to go repair things.
oh, okay, materials, okay.
Totally different, yeah, and they will want that because the way that Field Connect for the service guys work
Uh-huh,
is they could do their,
they can select,
They're-
say what they're,
yep,
using.
I'm grabbing this, I put that on my work
Yeah.
or whatever, right? And then it bills out the customer pulling from inventory here, right? So, yeah, they would be individual locations.
yeah, material, yeah.
Yep,
You're
That's
right.
just got to, each truck, and then like I said, he's got to come back periodically to the shop, restock his truck
Mhm.
out of inventory into new inventory location. So you've got to transfer stuff from your stock warehouse to those trucks. Otherwise,
How's that gonna happen?
Yeah.
how does your system know how to do a physical inventory account, because the thing is designed to be kind of a physical inventory
Yeah,
module.
yeah.
So at any point in time, I could go out there and go, I got 10 widgets in that bin. How
Yeah.
many widgets I got in that bin? So, I mean, they can
You're
pull them
not
out of
gonna
a
have-
grand slush fund, pool, if you're not doing them, but, it's
So
like you
the
don't
question
have
is,
to have.
do you really want to have, I think that it would make more sense to,
When service does inventory, what are they inventorying? Do they inventory all the vans?
I don't know.
I think they do.
But
They just-
is that, they're inventorying their vans, but at the same time, they're just kind of adding that to the actual warehouse inventory also.
Mm.
Not like they're tracking
van.
it separately. Because I think in this, I think you'd still just have to have the one, and when they go in and they select the items that they used, it would come just out of the main warehouse
Mhm.
versus, oh, I have this physically on my truck
At
and
that
I'm
location.
taking it out of my truck and then I'm going back and
That
I'm
makes
moving it
sense.
from warehouse to my truck to go to the
Yeah,
job.
we're relieving inventory from here
Mhm.
that they're grabbing to put into their van.
It's going direct to
And
the
then we're
inventory
putting
account. It's
back
not really
inventory.
tracking in between in
Okay.
the vehicles and
So
stuff.
yeah, location would be here and
Fab shop.
Fab shop.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way to really track it.
Yeah, I mean,
Not
I
the
heard,
materials on,
I'm even questioning
vehicles.
Fab Shop because they just currently decided to start carrying in some small amounts of
Small
inventory
things.
there because of shorts possibly, so they don't want to lose production.
I think we
because
should
of
have
this
set up Fab Shop as the location.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that could expand, especially going into some more larger projects now.
Yeah.
And they might,
As long as we inventory it,
it would be easier, it would be, still, not necessarily that you would either be a process, there's not a process in place right now that if material from here gets sent over to the fab shop, that it's
transfer.
transferred. It's all just in one big
That's what I'm
bucket.
concerned with. That's why
So
I'm concerned with the location for Fab Shop because
Yeah.
now you have to do your inventory
And transfers.
and transfers.
That's the only way the system would
Yeah,
go
that-
on
We
it is on
don't, we don't
hand.
do any transfers right now between what's here and there.
And we don't, and we inventory vans, but we don't itemize it per van. We just do a global inventory count for like service.
Yeah, that may change. I mean, we used to do back in the day, kind of a van inventory and per van,
Mhm.
but we got away from that. And then, there's been discussion about, John discusses a lot, as you know. So, so there may be some changes down the road. So if we wanted to add additional locations down the road, we could always do that.
Okay,
Yeah, I wouldn't put in the vans now as
okay.
locations.
So I think we just start with
One
here,
global upper inventory
and then
location,
once we figure
see
out,
how we would want to parse it out to
Mhm.
fab shops
I mean, I
and
would
or
definitely
vehicles
do
at later
the
point in
fab
time.
shop, which
You
as
think
a
so?
second location.
Okay.
because then that means that we have to count inventory specific to Fab Shop, and if anything gets transferred from here to Fab Shop, we would have to transfer it.
Oh, I see.
And you actually
In the
purchase it
Because
into
we're
an
talking
inventory
stock
location as
inventory
well.
that needs to be audited
Uh,
at
For a
location.
physical count, how many physical count locations would you want to have?
Well, let's just do the one
That's
right
what I'm
now.
thinking right now.
I mean, and we may, I don't know that we're going to track inventory in the system. We may get to that point, but right now we don't.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just we buy the stock in bulk and then we just kind of true it up with a physical count. More
Sure.
of just a
Sure.
bulk adjustment.
Okay,
We could change that.
sounds good. Okay,
Because now with Vista, we're going to have so much time on our hands.
Erica, I think Erica needs to start
So-
being the inventory tracking queen.
Inventory.
so now we got to do 53 categories and then tidy up our spreadsheet and then we can get them babies in there. So, is there any, I only have one workstation pointed at that. So we'd have to headquarters programs, actually it might be at the bottom.
I still logged in as you.
Yeah, BCS support.
Okay.
Yeah, but I hadn't logged out since the last time I logged in. can check your little
Oh,
box,
yeah.
it'll pre-fill for you.
If John does want to eventually do inventory for the trucks, I mean, we could always add the locations, and then we would probably assign them the vehicle numbers. I mean, if we got to that point, that may be a ways off. It would definitely wouldn't be part of phase 1. It would definitely be more part of phase 2.
Mhm. Agreed.
Yeah, and I mean, would we ever get to a point where we would barcode anything on the trucks? Because we're not going to barcode our material. It would just be more like tools and things like that.
Yeah,
But, I mean, we're not going to barcode anything we're going to, stock and resell.
no, the only thing, if we did, we barcode like a bin that they're pulling from.
Oh, so they could have bin locations in the cube van or a service truck. So if they took parts on and off, then it would hit a ticket for a work order.
Yeah, because we
billing or
obviously
something.
wouldn't barcode the individual because
Right.
they're
Yeah, so then
disposable.
it's just, there's how many widgets in this bin, this is the
Mhm.
location, and then it could tag the work order if they took it, like they've had a handheld device, okay, I got 2 of these, 1 of these, 4 of these.
Completely, yes.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay, so let's do, I'm gonna finish off this. So PW filters. What is that? FLTRS.
Filters, I don't know. Now, we're going caps for everything else?
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go caps, we're going proper elsewhere, but over here in the old inventory world, maybe we got to stick with that just because your thousands of items are capitalized. And I guess a lot of those things, they do have little mini descriptions that are capitalized, you know. so
Yeah, that makes it easier that way
It's
too.
tricky for inventory. Okay.
Is that all I need right
That's
now?
all you need
Okay,
is, what's the code and,
Description.
and then, we're gonna have to go through and find and replace. So whatever we change right up there, if we've,
I got you. Yep.
we'll have to find, replace.
All we gotta do is take the 4
And put PW dash.
Yeah.
Bingo. Yeah, we'll do that.
29168.
Oops. I have no idea. Hoses of some kind, high purity hoses, PVC hoses.
We could maybe have somebody look at them and make sure that those.
At least they get changed, they're not the primary, right? So, I mean.
Yeah, it's not the item description. That's just kind of, what is that grouped as?
Okay.
What the hell is that stuff?
Oh, well, we got hose and we got hose.
And hose clamps. So hose and hose
And
clamps.
hoses though, disconnect hoses, everything. He could rethink this, I guess, when it comes down to it. These are the hoses. You've got weird stuff.
HSG.
Brackets, filter housings, it's obviously a manufacturer. I'm just gonna do, oops. Can't get my typing down.
Yeah, you might have to pop them a little spreadsheet and ask them if there's a description or something. 'Cause,
Yeah.
and a lot of them are kind of groups of things too, or maybe it's a manufacturer or something.
Media, coconut shells.
I think that's a filler for one of the tanks styles that he does.
Gotcha. W dash. I know that's a manufacturer.
Little milli.
Which is kind of interesting, because I think that's one of the, that uses to filter the water,
Miscellaneous.
coconut shells. Oh, come on, man.
MMBRN.
No idea.
membrane.
Yeah, probably, yeah, membranes, you're right.
Okay, PPE, some personal protective stuff.
Yes, I can do that.
PPE. Personal protective.
That's definitely PPE.
Okay. Pumps. Qual. Qual. QC lights, quality control lights. Yep. Resin. UV. Oh, tanks. UV. Okay. Valve.
Hey, no, never mind.
Now you're in your little E mode.
E mode, I gotta figure out what I want for that. I don't even know. What code should I use for that?
Or which one?
All the Harrison codes. I'm trying to think, I have a 2-digit differentiator between like PW for pure water dash and then categories, right? So I'm trying to think for Harrison coded items. HC dash. Just trying to think. It's just a category to
Right.
group them.
Oh, I see, okay. So
Yeah.
everything that falls under the Harrison code.
Yeah, so it's got Harrison code dash, and then it has a subcategory, right? So like on here, I'm just looking, I don't want to use E again. I just use that for differentiator on here because nobody else used it. But
Right.
I'm thinking I use something more descriptive on this. So like HP, HC, Harrison Publishing, Harrison Code.
Yeah, I would say HP, Harrison Publishing.
Think so? Okay. Sold. HP dash ADS. That's what they would look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then they can do HP to get 12. Okay. A whole bunch of ADS.
And bill.
Malleable galvanized brass suit. Ductile iron galvanized. Malleable iron. Malleable.
So Sanville, the vendor.
Yes. And they're the manufacturer. They're a
Manufacturer,
manufacturer, yes. And so I'm looking for this material, it's all malleable. And I want to make sure,
Is it,
because then I'm going to redo this category to, nope. I can't do that. They carry different products, different materials. They have malleable, which is a material type. This is carbon steel.
Yep.
And it's socket weld. So I guess I'm just gonna have to go with anvil for now and then maybe break it out later. Forged steel. They got a lot of different stuff.
and look at all that.
Cast iron.
They're huge.
Keep going. Come on. Jeez. There's a lot. And anvil. Really?
Yeah, because eventually you'd want to have them grouped for by, kind of pipe and clamps or whatever,
Exactly.
hangers, and so I'm looking for a hanger or a clamp or a pipe I can put in a buzz ball, whatever that valve.
There we go.
And then we're in the polls.
Okay, I'm just gonna do this for now. I'm not come back, clean up some of this stuff. That'd be easy. HP, Paul's the same thing.
Armstrong.
Yeah, it's another manufacturer name. I think I'm gonna have a better breakout though, because I don't think I want to do it by manufacturer. I want to go ABS. I want to go valves.
What is it?
I want it, yes. Yep. And I will do that manually. On my homework probably. Let's just get a few things in here. Asahi, same thing. Now we're getting some good ones. So HP dash brass fittings.
And right above it is Bell G. I think that's.
Oh, I missed that, didn't I?
Yeah, it's a manufacturer. I think.
It is, yeah, just like Armstrong. Bell and Gossett. Okay.
That's perfect. And then, actually, you put an I in there, and it doesn't have one there.
Where's the?
See it at the top where it says BRSFT.
Oh,
It would catch immediately that you change that or that. So whatever you prefer.
I like this one better, so we'll just replace it with the FIT.
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
Yep.
Okay. This is the manufacturer again.
Charles.
And that would be Charlotte. There's a lot of these. A lot. There we go. Copper fittings. I do this the same way as the other one. That's how we want it to look. That would
makes a lot of
oh,
sense.
yeah.
That's intuitive.
Same with this one. Just have enough. I'll put it like that. Okay.
Perfect.
Cooper pipe. CPVC schedule 80. Oh, I can do it nice. See this, that's the maximum characters we can have for a category. That's why they're like that. We got a little bit more to go by here.
Yep.
So this will be CPVC schedule 80. Another manufacturer.
There we go. Rubble.
You guys are all paying attention, right?
Of course.
HP, I did my contribution for the
You did.
last 30 minutes anyway.
Whoa. Okay. GSKT.
Gaskets. Manufacturer. Manufacturer.
Go.
Two others, put back to this one, do the final replace.
Sure. More. PS40. Stainless steel. Yeah, these are good abbreviations, aren't they? That's kind of-
These are the right ones, yeah.
That's what I like to see right here.
This may be FS, ST, forged steel fittings, not steel, forged steel. There we go. Come on. That's better. All this is forged steel. Okay, sure. And this is just so we got galvanized. We're gonna have bare. We're gonna have plain in. I just do steel pipe again.
Can we turn it back up? I turned it down one
Yeah,
degree.
just kind of got to chill.
I'm starting to get chilly too. If anything with 1 degree in here, well,
Oh, yeah.
It must be cold
it's
out.
like an afternoon, a little bit of shade, 1 degree, it's like, breeze, like, let me turn the light down. Cool.
Timer. Action.
Door open, little blast from the outside.
Almost to the bottom.
There you go.
I agree.
Weiss.
Oh, it's manufacturers. Well then. Oh, there's the. Yeah.
Your count is 53.
Huh?
Your count is 53.
Categories? Yeah.
We put down a deposit.
So here's Bo.
It's me
And this is gonna change, I guarantee it.
Christine and her
Okay.
husband and my
At least I
parents.
have them
and some of
in
my
there.
parents'
Like,
friends.
If we import stuff to a category, can we
Yeah.
move from one category to another? Easily?
We'll make sure the import template is checked with what they call, that little checkbox on the import template.
Mhm. I mean, non-importing, just like if I was doing one by one in the system.
Oh, sure. Step 4 and change it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Look up,
Yeah,
why
change
is it
category.
one?
I got you. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
I'll just help you.